So in the previous class, we have discussed till cost center, how to define the cost centers. Now we will discuss the functional area, because if you go to SAP and then transaction code OKEON, and if you double click on any of your controlling cost center, and if you go to organization, you will find the functional area field is blank. So if you want that uh, your financial expenses, or all your expenses that you record at financial accounting, needs to be classified as a as an expenses of organizational functions like administration, sales and distribution, and so on, then you need to define the functional area. And another thing, that if you want that uh, to activate the cost of sales accounting, as in, then the cost of sales account, to activate the cost of sales accounting and to maintain this config customization, you need to classify your expenses as the functional area. And when you assign this functional area under the cost center, then you can maintain the cost of sales accounting. Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. So first we'll see where to define these functions or the functional areas. So this is the transaction code and menu path. So we'll go to SAP, then we'll go to another session, and SPRO, SAP reference IMG, enterprise structure, definition, financial accounting, define functional area. Execute this. So here, by selecting new entries, you can define the functional areas. You have to define the code for your functional area and then the description. This is defined at client level. So any company code can assign these functional areas to their transactions, or can maintain these functional areas for their uh, under their cost centers. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So these are the functional areas that is defined by other users. So we can use this for our company code also. So we are not going to define this. If you want to define, then you can go to new entries and define it. Then we need to activate the cost of sales accounting. Then only you can assign these functional areas to your cost centers. And to do that, you have to go to menu path, display IMG, then financial accounting global settings, functional area for cost of sales accounting. Execute this, collapse this, then activate cost of sales accounting. Execute, go to position, find your company code, and here the status is inactive. So click on this, change the status to active, press enter, ignore this information, and click on save. Create new request, activate cost of sales accounting for DL4. Save and continue. So now if you go back from here, again go to transaction code OKEON, enter. And now if you double click on your cost center and go to organization, you will find the functional area field is activated. So select this. This is the cost center for sales. So these are various functional areas depending on the functional areas that you have specified. So you can assign it. So you can assign sales and distribution, whatever you can assign. So depending on the functional area that you have defined, then you have to assign over here. Press enter. Yes, change the field. Then you have to
सर
save
इस
it.
पे एक चीज पूछनी है, ये फंक्शनल एरिया जो है ये ऑलरेडी एसपी साइड से कुछ बने हुए भी होते हैं, हम लोगों को बनाने भी पड़ेंगे अपने हिसाब से?
ये आपको बनाने पड़ते हैं. यहाँ पे क्या है, ऑलरेडी डिफाइन थे, ऑलरेडी कुछ यूजर्स ने डिफाइन कर रखे हैं.
यस,
हाँ, तो आप सेम यूज कर सकते हो क्योंकि ये डिफाइन होता है क्लाइंट लेवल पे.
फंक्शनल एरिया का मतलब किस पर्पस में यूज किया जाता है फंक्शनल एरिया?
अगर आप जो आपके जो एक्सपेंसेस आप रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हो फाइनेंशियल अकाउंटिंग में,
ओके,
वो अगर आप डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना चाहते हो फंक्शन वाइज, आपके डिपार्टमेंट्स होते हैं, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन डिपार्टमेंट, मार्केटिंग डिपार्टमेंट, प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट. सो आप उसको, आपके जो एक्सपेंसेस है, मान लो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्सपेंसेस है, आप उसको डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना चाहते हो कि आपके विंग्स है, अलग अलग डिपार्टमेंट्स है, तो सेल्स एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन डिपार्टमेंट कितना इलेक्ट्रिसिटी यूज कर रहा है, प्रोडक्शन कितना यूज कर रहा है, मार्केटिंग कितना यूज कर रहा है. ओके.
ओके.
तो ऐसे ये आपके बिजनेस फंक्शंस है ना, सेल्स, मार्केटिंग, देन प्रोडक्शन, रिसर्च, डेवलपमेंट। तो अगर आप ये एक्सपेंसेस अगर आप वैसे डिवाइड करना चाहते हो, ओके, तो
ओके
और कॉस्ट ऑफ सेल्स अकाउंटिंग मतलब क्या है, ये सारे एक्सपेंसेस आप आपकी प्रोडक्ट की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कॉस्ट में ऐड करना चाहते हो, उसे कहते हैं कॉस्ट ऑफ सेल्स। यानी कि आपको आपका जो फिनिश प्रोडक्ट है वो मैन्युफैक्चर करने के लिए क्या कॉस्ट इनकर हो रही है, तो उसमें जितने भी आप कॉस्ट इंक्लूड करनी है तो वो ये फंक्शनल एरिया से होंगी, अदर देन प्रोक्योरमेंट कॉस्ट। ओके, अदर देन प्रोक्योरमेंट कॉस्ट, जो एडिशनल कॉस्ट आपको असाइन करनी होंगी, ये जैसे ये यूटिलिटी कॉस्ट वगैरह भी होगी जो आपको प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट में ऐड करनी है, तो वो ये फंक्शनल एरिया से होगी।
ओके सर।
क्लियर?
ओके अच्छा सर, एक चीज़ और पूछनी है, हम लोग आगे एंड यूजर कैसे बनाते हैं और उनको एक्सेस कैसे किया जाता है, वो भी इस कोर्स के अंदर इंक्लूडेड है?
एंड यूजर कैसे बनाते हैं वो टेक्निकल पार्ट है और ये फंक्शनल मॉड्यूल है।
मतलब उसके लिए एक अलग कोर्स करते हैं?
यस, वो कोडिंग होता है।
तो वो एसएपी फिको जो अपना कंसल्टेंट है वो उसकी जॉब नहीं है?
देखिए एसएपी में दो टाइप के मॉड्यूल है, एक है
जी
फंक्शनल मॉड्यूल, एक है टेक्निकल मॉड्यूल। टेक्निकल मॉड्यूल है वो बैकएंड प्रोग्रामिंग करते हैं ताकि हम ये यूटिलिटीज, ये डिजाइन
देख
यूटिलिटी जो
सकते
है वो टेक्निकल कंसल्टेंट्स करते हैं। और ये फंक्शंस एंड यूजर यूज कर सके, ऑटोमेशन हो उनके बिजनेस ट्रांजैक्शन प्रोसेस से,
हैं।
ऑटोमेशन हो, वो ऑटोमेशन उनको, वो ऑटोमेशन डिजाइन करने का काम फंक्शनल कंसल्टेंट करते हैं। लेकिन ये जो फील्ड्स आपको दिख रहे हैं वो यहाँ ही क्यों दिख रहे हैं, ये सारा चीज टेक्निकल कंसल्टेंट करते हैं, इसके पीछे प्रोग्राम्स लिखते हैं वो लोग।
यस।
ओके, सो वो दो अलग अलग एरियाज है।
ओके सर, उस कोर्स का नाम क्या है वैसे?
बेसिस है, एबैप है।
ओके
ओके,
ठीक है सर।
ठीक है। सो हमने यहाँ पे फंक्शनल एरिया असाइन कर दिया है। इज इट इंग्लिश ओके विथ यू, और
वो सर।
कैन आई कंटिन्यू विद इंग्लिश?
यस सर।
या अगर आपको प्रॉब्लम है किसी पॉइंट पे तो बता देना, इंग्लिश हिंदी में एक्सप्लेन कर दूंगा। So we have assigned the functional area. Same we have to do for other cost centers. So double click on purchase cost center, under organization, assign the functional area, that is production, or if you find purchase, so you can assign, or you can assign material also. Then press enter. You have to save it, otherwise the status will remain as inactive. Then click on rent. You can define it as finance, or you can define it as administration. You can define it as finance and then save. So we have also activated the functional areas. The next topic will be cost elements as GL account master data. First we will discuss, understand what is cost element. The cost elements is a data carrier which is used to carry the data from financial accounting to controlling module. Okay, whatever the transactions you post is transferred to the controlling module, so that the cost that we have incurred can be further classified depending on the other aspects like cost centers, profit centers. Okay, so how to transfer it? So these cost elements act as a data carrier between two modules. Earlier, then what are the types of cost elements? The first is primary cost element. It is used to transfer the data from financial accounting to controlling. And the examples are, what are the cost? The example of costs are material cost, energy cost, personnel cost. Okay, so these are the example of costs. So the elements which transfers this cost from finance to controlling is called primary cost elements. Secondary cost elements, these cost elements are only used in controlling module. So that when the costs are transferred from primary cost, from finance to uh, controlling module, then this cost, if you want to further classify as for a particular cost, for example, uh, the primary cost center gets a cost from the finance as marketing cost. Okay, the data is transferred from the marketing cost that is recorded in financial accounting, gets transferred to marketing cost center. And now these costs are incurred for marketing of your finished products. like drill machine and hammers. Okay. So how you want to distribute this? Because you have incurred 100 rupees as marketing cost, and now you want to distribute this 100 rupees on drill machine and hammer so that this marketing cost can be add to the production cost of drill machine and hammer, which is your final products. So this distribution is done through secondary cost elements in controlling modules that we will learn in detail when we learn these topics: assessment, internal orders. We will learn this in detail. So this is what is meant by cost elements, the two types of cost elements. In earlier versions, prior releases than S4 HANA, the GL accounts and cost elements are prepared separately and they are linked together so that the cost elements can act as a data carrier from financial accounting to controlling module. But now in S4 HANA, both uh, primary cost and secondary cost elements are created as GL accounts and are part of chart of accounts. Okay. So there will not be a separate cost element and separate GL account. Both the cost elements are created as the part of general ledger account. So that change is made in S4 HANA in case of cost elements. Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. So we'll see how to maintain a cost element as a part of general ledger account. To do that, the transaction code is FS00. So go to SAP, go to transaction code FS00, change company code to DL4, go to expense and double click on purchase account. And if you go to control data, you will find a field, a section called account settings in controlling area. And here this field becomes mandatory, cost element category. Since we have activated the controlling area. Earlier, before you configure the controlling area, you will not find this cost element category, this section 2 under for any GL account for which you have selected the GL account type as primary cost or revenue. Only after you activate the controlling area, then cost center hierarchy, then only you will find this section activated under the GL accounts for which you have selected the GL account type as primary cost or revenue. So go to change, and here you have to assign the primary cost, the category as 01, that is primary cost or cost reducing revenues. Press enter and save it. Then double click on rent expense. We are already under the change mode. So here also we need to define the primary cost category as 01, cost element category as 01, primary cost, save it. Then we have created sales account. For sales account also we have selected GL account type primary cost or revenue. So under control data, cost element category, it will be again 01, that is primary cost reducing revenue. Press enter, click on save. So this way you can maintain a general ledger as the cost element category, as primary cost element category. How to define secondary cost element, that we will discuss later. But this way, by defining the GL account type as primary cost or revenue and then assigning the cost element category as primary cost, you can define the general ledger account as the cost element category. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next customization is default account assignment for cost center and profit center. It means that whenever you want to record a transaction on using this primary cost revenue or primary cost element general ledger account, then you have to assign the cost center, profit center to the general ledger account manually. How? That I will show you. If you go to any,
सर एक बार रिपीट करें, क्या बताया आपने, वो थोड़ा स्किप हो गया.
okay,
सिर्फ ये सेल्स वाला.
ये सेल्स वाला
हाँ, सिर्फ सेल्स वाला बता दिया आपने, क्या बताया इसके बारे में.
हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं डिफॉल्ट कॉस्ट अकाउंट असाइनमेंट, कॉस्ट
Okay.
सेंटर एंड प्रॉफिट सेंटर. वही अभी एक्सप्लेन कर रहा हूँ एग्जांपल के साथ.
Okay.
when you are booking record, you want to record any transaction. Say this is sales invoice. Okay, here you have to assign the sales GL and then amount. And then if you, since you have activated the primary cost category 1 over here, okay, then it is mandatory to assign cost center to this GL account. Here is the field cost center and profit center. ओके, ये मैंडेटरी हो जाता है जब आप कोई जीएल अकाउंट को कॉस्ट एलिमेंट कैटेगरी एक्टिवेट करते हो, तो ये मैंडेटरी हो जाता है कि वो जीएल के लिए आपको कॉस्ट सेंटर असाइन करना है, क्योंकि ये जो कॉस्ट है ये इंपॉर्टेंट है मैनेजमेंट रिपोर्टिंग के लिए, कि कंट्रोलिंग मॉड्यूल क्या है, मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटिंग है। सो मैनेजमेंट के डिसीजन मेकिंग के लिए जो रिपोर्ट्स जनरेट होने हैं उसके लिए ये कॉस्ट, ये रेवेन्यू कंट्रोलिंग मॉड्यूल में ट्रांसफर होना जरूरी है। तो हर वो जीएल अकाउंट जिसको आप कॉस्ट एलिमेंट कैटेगरी 1 एक्टिवेट करोगे, चाहे वो कॉस्ट हो चाहे वो रेवेन्यू जीएल हो, आपको कॉस्ट सेंटर प्रॉफिट सेंटर मैंडेटरी है असाइन करना। सिस्टम आपको ट्रांजैक्शन प्रोसेस करने ही नहीं देगा। सो नाउ whenever end user wants to post a transaction, he has to assign cost center. So if this process is automated in this customization, whenever the end user will enter the transaction using any of these GL accounts to which we have defined as primary cost or revenue, GL account type and cost element category 1, we will uh, define the default account assignment for cost center and profit center. So whenever the end user posts a transaction using these GL accounts, the cost center and profit centers that we have assigned to these GL accounts, system will automatically enters data in the field cost center and profit center. हाँ
सर हमने अभी इसमें प्रॉफिट सेंटर नहीं बनाया ना?
बनाया ना, पहला तो प्रॉफिट सेंटर बनाया, उसके बाद कॉस्ट सेंटर क्रिएट किया हमने लास्ट सेशन में।
एसेट के अंदर जो हमने लास्ट टाइम बनाया था वो प्रॉफिट सेंटर क्रिएट करके हमने।
एसेट के अंदर क्या बनाया?
नहीं मतलब जो लास्ट सेशन में आपने जीएल वगैरह क्रिएशन करवाए थे।
देखिए लास्ट सेशन में हमने प्रॉफिट सेंटर सीखा, जीएल वगैरह भी उसके पहले हो गए हैं।
सर मैं आपसे प्लीज रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ, ये आपके जो नोट्स वगैरह हैं ये आप प्लीज आज शेयर कर देंगे क्या, क्योंकि मैंने टिकट
मैं कैसे फाइंड करना है वो आपको बता देता हूँ आज। ओके, ये बहुत क्या हो रहा है, आप हर स्टूडेंट को लग रहा है कि मैं जैसे एलएमएस पोर्टल खोलूंगा हर एक नोट्स मुझे सामने रेडी मिल जाएगा। रेडी है, लेकिन उसको फाइंड करने का एक तरीका है, वो तरीका मैं आज आपको बता देता हूँ।
ठीक है सर।
ओके
ओके सर।
हाँ, नोट्स सारे हैं, बस उसको फाइंड करने का एक ये है स्टेप्स है।
क्योंकि सर अभी हम लोग प्रैक्टिस वगैरह कर रहा हूँ मैं, तो मुझे सारी वीडियोस रेफर करनी पड़ रही हैं, तो उसमें जो है सब मैसेज बहुत ज़्यादा हो रहा है।
वो स्टेप्स आपको समझा देता हूँ आज क्लास एंड होने से पहले।
ओके ओके सर, थैंक यू।
जब लास्ट 15 मिनट्स बाकी होंगे क्लास खत्म होने से,
ओके
या फिर जब मैं बोलता हूँ आज का क्लास खत्म, तब याद दिला देना।
ओके
ओके, आज आपका इशू सॉल्व हो जाएगा। Should we proceed?
यस सर।
Okay. So now we'll see how to automate this assignment. What is the need to automate this process? Because since you are entering a transaction for sales GL and you assign the cost center for purchase cost center, then this revenue transaction will be recorded as cost in cost center. Okay, it will not reflect in the revenue cost center, it will reflect in the expense cost center. So the reporting will be disturbed. To avoid this human error, you can automate the process. Okay, so we'll see how to do this. To configure both the cost centers and profit center as a default account assignment, you have to go to this transaction code OKB9. So we'll go to SAP and we'll go to transaction code OKB9, press enter, go to new entries. Here you have to enter your company code, then cost elements. If you select on this search box, you have to search the cost element through your controlling area. Continue. So it will show you only those GLs against which you have activated the cost element category as 1. So first double click on this sales account GL, then assign cost center. Make sure you enter the correct combination of controlling area and company code. Continue. It is the sales cost center that we have assigned. We have to do similar customization for all our cost element categories. Cost elements, we have to do it. For purchase, assign purchase cost center. For rent, assign rent cost center. This is rent GL. Press enter, the data will be freeze. What we have defined over here is that whenever an end user will post the transaction using any of these GL accounts, the cost center assign against any of this assign against the respective cost elements, system will enter this cost elements by default automatically. End user will not have to assign the cost centers manually against this GL accounts. So that is the purpose of this automation. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now the question is, I have not assigned profit centers in this customization. If I try to post a transaction using this cost element, will system automatically enters the profit center against this cost element? Hello? Have you understood the question?
Yes, sir.
If you remember the config customization that we have, how we created cost centers, you will be able to answer. Prachi, can you answer?
No, sir.
You have not checked the class recordings, you have not practiced?
No, sir, because last few days I was in.
Okay. Salim, can you answer or should I explain it?
So please explain.
Okay. So the answer is system will assign profit center if I post a transaction use against this GL accounts. Though I have not assigned profit centers over here. And the answer lies in this customization. OKEON, transaction code to create cost centers. If you go to organization, you will find I have assigned the profit center under the cost center.
सर
Yes.
जैसे अभी हम एक्सपेंस के अंदर यहाँ पे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में यहाँ पे प्रॉफिट सेंटर हमने एक लिखा है यहाँ पर PDEL फॉर एक्सपेंस, ठीक है। यहाँ पे हम मल्टीपल भी बना सकते हैं, मतलब प्रॉफिट सेंटर काफी बना सकते हैं एक ही उसके अंदर एक्सपेंस के हेड के अंदर, या सिर्फ एक ही चल रहा है, एक ही पॉसिबल है।
नहीं, ग्रुप का मतलब ही वही है ना कि एक्सपेंस के अंदर आप एक्सपेंस के कॉस्ट सेंटर्स बना सकते हो।
अभी क्या है ना, मेरी कंपनी में जैसे जीएल है कोई, ठीक है, या 30,000 जीएल ले लेते हैं एग्जांपल के तौर पे, उसके अंदर उन्होंने 5,000 स्टोर्स हैं जिस कंपनी में काम करता हूँ यूएस में, उनके
5,000 क्या है?
5,000 स्टोर्स हैं उनके वॉलमार्ट
ओके
में, ठीक है, यूएस के अंदर। तो उन्होंने उन स्टोर्स को नंबर दिए हुए हैं 1 से लेकर 5,000 तक के।
करेक्ट।
तो वो प्रॉफिट सेंटर के तौर पे उस स्टोर का जीएल जो अपना पीएनएल बैलेंस हम लोग देखते हैं, मैनेज करते हैं, तो वो प्रॉफिट सेंटर से देखते हैं हम लोग।
करेक्ट।
ठीक है। तो ऐसे ही हम लोग कोई एक जीएल के अंदर बहुत सारे प्रॉफिट सेंटर सेम क्रिएट कर सकते हैं।
प्रॉफिट सेंटर जीएल के अंडर नहीं हुए हैं, रेंट एक्सपेंस का जीएल एक ही है।
ओके।
यहाँ पे आपने ये प्रॉफिट सेंटर क्या है 1।
ओके।
आपने रेंट के 5,000 प्रॉफिट सेंटर बनाए हैं।
ओके।
रेंट एक्सपेंस 1, रेंट एक्सपेंस 2, रेंट एक्सपेंस 3, रेंट एक्सपेंस 1,000, हर एक स्टोर का उन्होंने नंबर दिया है ना।
जी जी बिल्कुल।
तो वही पर्पस है ये एंड में नंबर लिखने का, कॉस्ट सेंटर और प्रॉफिट सेंटर का।
और सर इसमें तरुण, जतिन और अजीत का क्या रोल है?
They are responsible to manage the data for this profit center.
Okay.
They are supervising these profit centers.
तो ये ऐसा समझ सकता हूँ मैं जैसे कि स्टोर के मैनेजर हैं या?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they can be store managers.
Okay. और उसके बाद जो भी इन जीएल्स के अंदर एंट्री पोस्ट होगी वो उनके थ्रू आएगी?
Not उनके थ्रू, not
मतलब
उनके थ्रू. They are the person responsible for see, अगर आपको कोई डिस्क्रिपेंसी लगी कि अभी 5,000 का एक्सपेंस है, अचानक से 50,000 का कैसे हो गया?
ओके।
तो फिर आप तरुण को कांटेक्ट करोगे, तरुण 5,000 का रेंट है, 50,000 का कैसे हो गया? तो पॉइंट ऑफ कांटेक्ट कोई होगा ना जिसको आप पूछोगे, तो वो है तरुण।
ये हमें मेंशन करना जरूरी रहता है या नहीं?
मैंडेटरी फील्ड है तो जरूरी है,
ओके
ऑप्शनल फील्ड है तो ऑप्शनल ही हुआ.
ओके ओके, अब प्लीज समझ में आ गया. थैंक यू.
Okay. So since we have assigned this profit center under the cost center, we don't have to assign profit center separately over here, because how the data flows from financial accounting to controlling. First you record the data on general ledger, then the data flows to cost center, and from cost center the data flows to all these areas: business area, functional area, profit centers. From cost center it flows to these different elements of controlling module. Okay, functional area, profit center, business area, it's a enterprise structure element, business area, and functional area is also a enterprise structure element, but the data flows from cost center. Clear?
Okay, sir.
So that is the purpose of this default account assignment. Clear to both of you? Topic is currency types. The currency types specifies the role of currency in SAP system. The local and parallel currencies option is available into SAP through currency types 30, that is for local currency, and currency type 10, that is for local currency, and 30 for group currency. What it means? Means there are two currencies that we have configured. One is local currency, that is our company code currency, and the second currency, that is our controlling area currency, as well as our group currency. And so to define both these currencies, SAP have defined some predefined codes, that is 10 for your local currency and 30 for your group currency. Under the currency types, we define the configurations for currency conversion settings. Means how a transaction recorded in a document currency should be converted to the company code currency, and from company code currency how it should convert to a group currency. These transactions, these customizations we will maintain under currency types. So to define these customizations, the transaction code is, this is the transaction code and this is the menu path. So we'll go to SAP, then we'll go to an IMG activity. No, first we haven't saved this. So save it. We haven't saved that default account assignment. So default account assignment for cost center and profit center. Okay, we have saved this now. So the transaction menu path is display IMG, financial accounting global settings, ledgers, ledger, define settings for ledgers and currency types. Execute this. Continue. Double click on folder currency types. Here you will find the currency type 10 as company code currency and currency type 30 as group currency, and it is company code specific. So these currencies are defined by SAP. It is predefined by SAP. You will find it as predefined. So you don't need to make any changes over here. You just need to ensure that these currencies are defined. These currency types are defined by default by the SAP, or else you have to configure it by going to new entries. Then you have to select the global currency conversion settings. So double click on it. Here you need to maintain a relationship between the company code currency and the source currency, that is document currency. Here basically we define when a transaction is to be when the transaction is posted in document currency, how it should be converted in the company code currency. Therefore, the source currency for company code currency is document currency, and the exchange rate at which the transaction is converted is standard translation at average rate. Standard translation at average rate means the average of banks buying rate of foreign exchange and selling rate of foreign exchange. The average of both the exchange rates is the standard translation at average rate. That is the exchange rate type. Translation date type. There are three types of dates: document date, posting date, and translation date. It is the dates. Document date means the date that is printed on physical document. Posting date means the date at which transaction is posted in SAP. And the translation date is the date on which the transaction is cleared in bank. So we define the translation date type as translation date because we need exchange. We need to convert the uh, we need to compare the exchange rate with the uh, basically the exchange rate is recorded at the date on which the transaction is cleared in the bank. Okay, so therefore the translation date type should be selected at translation date and the real time conversion should be selected. Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Then next thing that you need, this customization will also be defined by SAP. If it is not, then you have to define by selecting new entries. Then select, double click on currency conversion settings for company code. Continue. This customization you have to define. So go to new entries, enter your company code. Then you have to define the currency, and the currency will be group currency. What is your group currency? That is USD. Since our company's head office is located in USA, source currency will be company code currency. Exchange rate type M, standard translation at average rate, and translation date type translation date, and press enter. Here we have defined that the transaction to be converted in group currency, for that conversion will be sourced from company code currency. So the transaction posted in company code currency will be converted to group currency for group reporting, and it is converted at standard exchange rate type will be standard translation at average rate, and the translation date type will be translation date. Any queries?
No, sir.
Okay, please reply, because if you don't understand this, you will not understand the further customization. So after defining this, click on save, continue, create request, currency conversion settings for save and continue. Exit from here. So now next we will learn the concept of leading ledger and non-leading ledger. So I'll explain this with an example. Is it visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in SAP S4HANA, we have a configured company code which is registered in India, and our group company is registered in USA. So the concept is, whatever transaction we record in our company code should be posted to company on group chart of accounts, so that the transactions will be available for consolidation purpose, consolidated group reporting. Then what SAP says, that whatever transactions you record for your company, where the company for your company code, where that company code is registered in a country, that for that country you define the financial statements, and you define the financial statements using general ledger accounts. So all those general ledger accounts are called leading ledger. So in our case, our company code is registered in India. So for the legal reporting purpose, we have to define the financials, maintain the financial statements according to the accounting principle governed in India. And to generate the financial statements, we need to post the transactions using general ledger accounts. Therefore, the general ledger accounts that we define to generate the financial statements according to the accounting principle applicable in India, these ledgers are called the leading ledger. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, in SAP, only one leading ledger can be defined, and SAP defines it with the code 0L. And this leading ledger will be assigned to all the company codes by default. And these are the properties of leading ledger that we will discuss practically. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So to define the leading ledger, the transaction code and menu path is same. So go to IMG activity. This is the menu path. So access this node, and you will find that this is the leading ledger 0L. And since only one leading ledger can be defined, so the checkbox again is in column leading is only selected against this ledger 0L. So to define the properties for leading ledger for your company code, select this leading ledger and double click on company code settings for the ledger. Continue. Go to position, find your company code, select, then double click on your company code. Continue. So you will find some parameters are automatically assigned to your leading ledger through your company code. What are those parameters or what are those functions? These functions are fiscal year variant and posting period variant. These variants are auto assigned to the leading ledger by default when through your company code. Then the currencies, the first currency will be the company code currency that is auto assigned to your leading ledger, and the second currency that you define as group currency at controlling area level, that is also assigned automatically to company code. And this is what is mentioned over here. Then you have to define the accounting principle through which the data postings and reports generation and can be defined for this leading ledger. So, what is account principle? Can you explain? Hello? Can you explain what do you understand by the term accounting principle? Okay. Even if you don't know, say it that you don't know. I'll explain. I'm here to explain, but I want to know whether you have an idea about it or not. Okay. So the
Sir, please
accounting,
explain.
the accounting principle means this set of rules that defines how to record the transaction and report the financial data. That is called accounting principles. And the accounting standards are collection of accounting principles. An example is International Financial Reporting Standards, that is called IFRS, issued by International Accounting Standards Board IASB, and the local transaction accounting standards, the United States Generally Accepted Accounting Principle, that is called US GAAP, German Commercial Code, that is called HGB. Okay, so that is mean by accounting principle. So here we need to define that how the transaction, what are the rules to record the transaction for the leading ledger. Okay, and how to record and how to report the financial data. So when we post a transaction for the leading ledger, here we define the accounting principle according to which that the rules are governed, rules are defined, how the transaction should be recorded, and how the reports to be maintained for the internal as well as external reporting. For that purpose, we have to assign the accounting principle. So here we will assign the accounting principle as GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles. Functional currency, it will be the company code currency. And then we have to select this checkbox, parallel accounting using general GL accounts. Press enter. Here system will indicate that you have activated the indicator. Continue. What is the meaning of it? I will explain in few minutes. So we have defined the accounting principle for ledger level. But now we have to define the accounting principle for ledger as well as company code level. For that, you need to double click on this folder. Continue. And here go to new entries and assign the same accounting principle that you assign at ledger level. Now you have assigned it at company code level. So again back to this and you can click on save. Continue, create new request, define leading ledger for save and continue. Any queries?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So now we will understand what is leading ledger, non-leading ledger. So we have understood that if you are maintaining the general ledger accounts to maintain the financial data for a company code which is registered in a country, then that ledgers are called leading ledgers. But when you maintain a ledgers for group reporting and these general ledgers and financial statements are maintained as per the accounting principle governing the different country, that is the country where the group company is registered. And for group reporting, you are posting these transactions that you have posted in leading ledger to non-leading ledger. So to a different ledger that is called non-leading ledger. So for group reporting, when you post a leading transaction in leading ledger, same transaction should be updated for the group reporting according to the accounting principle governing the company where the company is registered. In our case, our company is registered in USA. So we have to record the transaction posted in the Indian company according parallelly or simultaneously in the USA company, so that this data posted here will be available for consolidated group reporting purpose. So the ledgers that we create and maintain to record the financial transactions in USA company according to the accounting principle governing the US accounting of USA is called the non-leading ledger. So this is what is explained over here. The ledgers in financial statements created for other countries are called as non-leading ledgers. Any queries?
No, sir.
Okay. So we'll see how to define the non-leading ledger. So go to SAP, same menu path, execute it. Here, the non-leading ledger needs to be defined by the consultant or by the company code. It is not defined by SAP as SAP define the leading ledger. So you have to define the non-leading ledger. So go to new entries. I will enter as D4. The non-leading ledger can be defined by 2-digit alphanumeric code. The description will be non-leading ledger D4, DL4, and press enter. Nothing to be mentioned in any of this column. Then select this non-leading ledger and double click on company code settings for the ledger. Go to new entries, and here you have to assign your company code. Press enter. So here you will find a statement in leading ledger as leading ledger is integrated with all non-leading ledgers. That means that like leading ledger, you will get all the properties by default to the non-leading ledger as you assign company code to non-leading ledger. So the fiscal year variant and posting period variant for non-leading ledger can be different. And if you do not define a different fiscal year and posting period variant for non-leading ledger, then the fiscal year variant and posting period variant defined for leading ledger for this company code will be auto assigned to the non-leading ledger for this company code, the said company code. Clear? Other parameters will be the same, the currencies. Here, if you want for both your leading and non-leading ledgers, addition to the two currencies, that is the current company code currency or local currency, then the group currency, you want that you need to maintain a financial statements in additional currencies other than these two currencies. So you can add the currencies for the financial reporting. And
अच्छा सर,
sorry,
ये ऐड करेंसी हम उस केस में कर सकते हैं ना, मतलब जब हमारी एक दो कंपनी और अदर कंट्रीज में काम करे, ग्रुप वाले में, ग्लोबल में,
yes.
और लोकल करेंसी अपना आईएनआर ही रहेगी।
हाँ, INR मतलब अगर आपकी कंपनी
हाँ, इंडिया में।
इंडिया में रजिस्टर्ड है तो इंडिया का करेंसी है INR,
हम्म।
तो वो आपकी लोकल करेंसी हुई। आपकी कंपनी अगर यूएसए में रजिस्टर्ड है
हम्म।
तो उसका करेंसी है USD, तो आपकी लोकल
ओके।
करेंसी हो गई USD।
ओके, और बाकी अगर जैसे उसकी कोई ब्रांच वगैरह इंडिया में है,
नहीं, आप मान लो
हाँ,
आपकी
ये अपोजिट हो जाएगा।
अपोजिट मतलब कैसे होगा, ये सेम केस ले लेते हैं।
हम्म।
हमारी कंपनी रजिस्टर्ड है इंडिया में, हमारी ग्रुप करेंसी है USD।
ओके।
हमारे ग्रुप में और भी कंपनीज है जो रजिस्टर्ड है, जो लोकेटेड है जर्मनी में, चाइना में। ओके,
ओके।
सो आप चाहते हो कि ये इंडियन कंपनी का जो अकाउंट्स है वो आपको यूरो में भी देखना है कि यूरो में उसका क्या इफेक्ट है। ओके,
ओके।
तो वो केस में आप यहाँ पे एक एडिशनल करेंसी ऐड करोगे, यूरो। फिर उसके लिए भी आपको करेंसी कन्वर्जन सेटिंग मेंटेन करना होगा। एंड आप जब भी ट्रांजैक्शन पोस्ट करोगे इंडियन करेंसी में, सिमिलरली वो ट्रांजैक्शन पोस्ट होगा यूरो में।
ओके।
तो वो केस के लिए आप एडिशनल करेंसी कॉन्फ़िगर कर सकते हो अगर आप एक ही कंपनी कोड के ट्रांजैक्शन अलग अलग करेंसीज में डिफाइन करना चाहते हो तो।
अच्छा, जब हम उसका जीएल खोलेंगे, ओपन करेंगे जीएल किसी भी उसका एंट्री का, तो उसमें ये सारी अमाउंट्स हमको मेंशन दिखेंगी वहाँ पर, या सिर्फ मेरी लोकल करेंसी?
यस यस, आपको लोकल करेंसी, देखो आपको ट्रांजैक्शन हमेशा दिखेगा लोकल करेंसी में, लेकिन उसको व्यू करने के लिए अलग से आपको एक फील्ड मिलेगा, ड्रॉप डाउन मिलेगा। वो ड्रॉप डाउन में आपकी दूसरी करेंसीज मेंशन होंगी। आप जो करेंसी सिलेक्ट करोगे वो करेंसी में आपको ट्रांजैक्शन सिस्टम दिखा देगा। वो सब देखेंगे हम आगे।
ओके सर, क्लियर।
ओके, so here also you need to define the accounting principle which will govern the data posting and reports generation for this non-leading ledger. Here we need to define an accounting principle. So go to transaction SPRO, then SAP reference IMG, financial accounting global settings, ledgers, parallel accounting, define accounting principles. In real time, you don't need to define the accounting principle, or if it is not defined by SAP, because since this is the practice server, there are various users who are using the default accounting principles. Then it is the rule of SAP that only one target ledger can be assigned to the accounting principle, and for that purpose, here you need to define the accounting principle for your non-leading ledger. So go to new entries. I will define it as DL4. and I will name it as US GAAP. Save it, create new request, define accounting principle. Now you have defined the accounting principle. Now you can assign it to your non-leading ledger, DL4. And again select parallel accounting. What is the meaning of this parallel accounting? Because while configuring the leading ledger, we have selected this, and while configuring non-leading ledger also, we have selected this. So the meaning of this is that since you are maintaining the group reporting, so the data that you post on your leading ledger needs to be posted for non-leading ledger so that the data will be available for consolidated reporting purpose. How you going to achieve this? You are going to achieve this through parallel accounting. What is parallel accounting? When you post a transaction in your local company using according to the accounting principle and currency governing the uh, leading ledger. Okay. So system, since you have activated the parallel accounting using GL accounts, system will parallelly post this transaction in USD according to the accounting principles governing the non-leading ledger. That is called parallel accounting. So to automate this process, you need to select the checkbox parallel accounting using GL accounts. Any queries?
No, sir.
You have understood the concept of parallel accounting?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is what is mentioned here as parallel accounting. Okay. So now since we have so the leading ledger will be act as the sender of the data for parallel accounting, and non-leading ledger will be act as the receiver that the data which is parallelly posted for non-leading ledger. Then double click on this accounting principle folder, and similarly you have to define the accounting principle for company code and save it. Continue. Create new request. Define non-leading ledger for DL4. Save and continue. So here the system will create a ledger group D4 is created only with ledger D4. The ledger group will be created for non-leading ledger. Continue. Exit. So here you can define freely up to 8 freely defined currencies. Okay. So we have to assign the accounting principle to ledger group for parallel accounting. When a ledger is created, a system automatically generates a ledger group with the same name that we have seen just now. And for parallel accounting and for assignment of ledger through accounting principle in depreciation areas in new asset accounting, we have to assign the accounting principle to ledger group. So this customization we need to define so that for asset accounting, we also need to define the ledger group so that the data postings of asset accounting can also be posted parallelly from leading ledger to non-leading ledger. And for that purpose, we need to define the assignment of accounting principle to ledger group. And this is the menu path. So we'll go to IMG activity, display IMG, financial accounting global settings, ledgers, then parallel accounting, and assign accounting principle to ledger groups. Execute this. Go to new entries. Here you need to define the accounting principle that you have defined for non-leading ledger, and then you need to define the ledger group that is system automatically created for your non-leading ledger when you created the non-leading ledger. Select this, press enter. The concept is only one target ledger group can be assigned to accounting principle. So we have defined the accounting principle as GAAP for non-leading ledger. So The non-leading ledger is defined by system, so the group will also created by the system by default. So click on save, create new request, assign accounting principal to ledger group. Save and continue. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next customization that we need to define is define ledger for CO version. So to define this, we have to go to this menu path under the controlling node. So we'll go to SAP, display IMG, then controlling, general controlling, organization, define ledger for CO version. Execute this, go to new entries, define your controlling area, then version will be 0 that you have defined for your controlling area. Then the compatible ledger will be 0L. Then press enter. Here you have maintained a relationship that when you entered a plan data for any expense or any revenue through in controlling area through plan version 0, then for calculation of variances, the actual data posted in financial accounting are extracted through the leading ledger against this plan version so that you can analyze the variances by comparing the plan data versus actual data. So that is the purpose of this customization. Any questions?
No, sir.
Concept is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So click on save, continue, create new request. Okay. Define ledger for CO version. Save and continue. Table is locked. Okay. Okay, the data is safe.
Please like, share, and subscribe to SAP FICO-GURU for more valuable learning.